Hello, John Najarian here. If you want to trade like a rebel, if you want to party like a rebel, well, you got to come to Rebelcon 2022. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas, at the fabulous Four Seasons Resort. We start the 21st of September, go until September 24th. It will be more fun and more live trading than we've ever done before. That's why it's called Rebelcon 2022. We're going to have barbecues and double the amount of live trading. So if you want to book that now, make sure you do, because the guest speakers, as soon as we announce those, this thing's going to be sold out. It's going to be something you do not want to miss. Limited to 250 people. Sign up now for Rebelcon 2022 at the Four Seasons in Dallas, Texas.
Welcome to the Rebellion.
Good morning, I'm Pete Najarian. This is The Take on this Thursday morning, and wow, we're excited about that Rebelcon. Hope you are as well. It's going to be a lot of fun, should be unbelievable. We've done these types of things on many occasions, and I'll tell you what, each and every time it seems like it's just a little bit better. What wasn't better was what we saw yesterday with the CPI. 9.1% was the number. They were looking for the high eights, but we actually beat that pretty good. That was something that definitely put some pressure on the markets yesterday, early, often, but the markets did actually rally off of that. We've had the Dow was down about 400 points. We were down about 250 on the NASDAQ on the lower side of things. And then we had this nice methodical move to the upside, and we started to see that, and we started to get closer into the green. Couldn't hold on to it. The Dow finished down the day about 200 points, a little bit more than that, actually. But the NASDAQ actually did rally pretty nicely and did hold up pretty well. Did not stay in the green, but only down about 15, 16, 17 points or something like that yesterday. But because of that and some of the movement, especially early on, we did have some volatility. We popped all the way up towards those 29s, finished the day back towards that lower end, just underneath 27 on a volume of about just under 37 million contracts yesterday. So we remain well under the year-to-date average on those volumes for this month of July. We just seem to be in a little bit of a rut, which is actually normal. If you go back pre-pandemic, it was always that summertime where we'd see a lot of those volumes start to pull back, people going on their trips, people doing on college visits or bringing kids out to college, all the different things that happen during the summertime, and slows things down just a little bit. We obviously have not seen much of that, especially because of the start of pandemic and a lot of the different circumstances. Maybe a lot of that has also to do with the price of oil and what we're seeing at the pump. A little less travel maybe going on. Although we're watching those numbers come back pretty significantly as well. Speaking of that, Bitcoin with a nice little lift yesterday. It was up about 5%, back up and above that 20,000 level. Just can't seem to get a lot of footing, however, and that's been a bit of an issue. We talk about crude all the time, back and still underneath that 100 level. We finished the day down around 96. You look at the 2-year, 10-year, not a whole lot to say there other than there is a pretty decent spread between those two right now. Consumer discretion, that was the area that really, when you look at the sectors, what reversed the most? And that was consumer discretion. We're talking Amazon, we're talking Tesla when we're talking about that. But it was down almost 2.5% early on in the trading day, only to finish the day up about 1%. Pretty nice reversal there. Technology, also big reversal, down about 2%, got all the way back up, but slipped back down into the red. But it was names like Apple and others that actually sort of had a bit of an influence on what was going on there, no doubt about that. Financials did get off of where they were, but still finished the day out down about 1%. And that was going into what we're going to talk about in just a moment when we look at the start of earnings season. We're talking about, JP Morgan. We're talking about Morgan Stanley, all these numbers. What does the tsunami look like from Jamie Dimon's perspective, all of that? Get into that in 1 second. We had a nice pop yesterday out of Twitter, Mosaic, Tesla also participating. Then you look over at Clorox, you look at Home Depot, Walmart, all really contributing fairly nicely on the positive side. On the negative side, we did have some airlines get a bit of a pull on things. We had Zoom, we had eBay. Also, Walgreens Boots was another one of those areas. Fastenal, definitely giving something that was pulling on the markets, along with Boeing, along with Salesforce. You get the idea. United Health, all of those in a little bit more in that negative side of things. And part of why we were seeing, especially some of those names that are part of the Dow, why the Dow was down still on the close, at least down a couple of 100 points. So as we come into today, we're starting off earnings season. We got Jamie Dimon, and Jamie Dimon did not sound like a guy who was all that excited about what's really going on. Q2 profits, all of that. That certainly was something, especially when he started to talk about the broader part of the economy itself. That seemed to get people into a little bit of a selling spree. And so suddenly we're down about 400 plus points in the pre-market, down a little over 100 on the NASDAQ. That's only gotten a little bit worse and a little bit worse in this first hour. We've had a little bit of signs of maybe it's going to pull back, but then it slips right back down. Last I looked, we were close to 600 points to the downside on the Dow, and we were at the worst points of the session so far. Only 1 hour in, let's not overread it, but down about 230 points on the NASDAQ. Crude, it's been bouncing around, but it was 95 early on. Then we pulled all the way back into the 91s. Last I looked, we were just above 92. So it's been a very, very interesting to see the velocity of this move to the downside as well. Volatility, oh yeah, we got some volatility. The volatility index trading in those 28s. Once again, the 2-year, 10-year still have that big spread I was talking about. And Bitcoin cannot seem to hold on to it. We got another out there talking about bankruptcy. And with that, we're looking at Bitcoin back underneath that 20,000 level. So just having a really hard time holding on to anything. Sectors, all were in the red right out of the gate today. Probably understandable. You look over at energy, it was down 3%. It actually progressed to be down 4%. Financials were down about 2%. We're down about 2.5%. So we were seeing a little bit of movement there. You can understand where we're seeing some of the majority of that. Materials definitely slipped a little bit further. Industrials, just a little bit. Staples were down about 1%. So there's nowhere to hide today. There's a lot of pressure on these markets. I mentioned earnings season kicking off. You got JP Morgan, you got Morgan Stanley, both missing. We did get Taiwan Semi, though, with a beat, and that was helping out semiconductors, at least for about a half hour. Then they started to slip back down once again. You had AMD in positive territory. That started to slide. We saw that happen with a lot of the different semiconductor companies along the way already in this first hour. A little bit volatile. What's positive right now? Costco. That stands out pretty nicely. First Republic Bank is another one. Don't talk about that name very often. We're focused on the bigger names. I'm not talking about some of the other ones, but that name having actually a pretty good day. Centene in that area as well, done pretty well. And then I look over at those semis. They had that little lift, and then they started to sink back down just a little bit. Airlines had a little bit of power early on, but I'll tell you what, overwhelmingly it's JP Morgan, it's Citi, it's Morgan Stanley. You take a look at what's pressuring markets, then it's names like Freeport, McMoran. You've also got all those beta energy names. Of course, when you look at where crude is, you can understand why you've got a little bit of that pushing things down a little bit. In the healthcare area, Moderna's got those 1 step up, 2 steps back kind of a mentality, although lately it's had a little bit more on the positive side. Datadog, Marvell going back into the chip world. You got Meta, you got Walmart. You get the idea. There is plenty that's getting sold when you've got a market that's down over 600 points, S&P down pretty significantly as well. So as we start to kick off this earnings season, as we get into the banks, pretty interesting to see that you look at the XLF, it's actually today hit 52-week lows today. It was a little bit off of those lows. It was trading right around 30.5, and we got a buyer of, unfortunately, more of those puts. Yesterday they were buying the July puts, the July 29th, so the very end of this month, the 32 puts. What are they doing today? Well, they bought 4,000 of the July 29, once again, very end of July, the 28.50 puts, and those are going for about 26 cents. Obviously, you take a look, it's going to absolutely have to penetrate something underneath that 52-week low. Be keeping an eye on that pretty closely, but we've got those large put buyers in there as well. ASHR, ASHR nickname, China 300. So broader sweep at what's going on over in China. That stock, or ETF rather, was trading right around 32. We had 5,000 of the September 30 puts being bought for about 63 cents. They were getting hedged by selling the further down puts, the 27 puts as well out there. But on Monday, just keep this in mind as well, in Asher, we had a buyer of 12,000 of those 32 puts. So gives you a little bit of an idea, some of that negativity coming back into maybe some of these ETFs. We'd seen a little bit of positive. We saw a little bit of the reaction in the positives for some of these Chinese names. right now it looks like somebody out there seems to think that maybe we're getting ready for another pullback in some of those Chinese names. Keep a close eye on that as well. Folks, I'm Pete Najarian. Hopefully you've got a great start to your day. I know it's a negative start, but there are a lot of puts being talked about, a lot of puts being bought. We've seen a lot of that, and we'll be keeping an eye. We did have one big call buyer also in one of the big tech names out there, but that was just before coming on here. Pretty interesting to see that and going out in time. So for now, we're just going to go with the stuff that we're seeing the shorter term, talk about some of these puts and some of these ETFs definitely stand out. I'm Pete Najarian. Have a great day of trading today.